Welcome to today's Canvas Basics, how to earn an A for using the Canvas Gradebook. For many of us, the Gradebook feels like one of those necessary evils. But the Canvas Gradebook and SpeedGrader tools can simplify the task of grading by giving you flexibility in setting up your workflow, deciding which and how assignments are used in your grading calculations, and in providing feedback. Today, I'm going to walk you through the little nuances of using the Gradebook and SpeedGrader that you may not be aware of, so you can take full advantage of them. First, be aware the dash doesn't mean a zero grade. It simply means the assignment is not being used in that particular student's grade calculation. It's like a null set. That can give students a false idea of how they're doing, so it's important to be sure and mark the item as 0 points or mark it incomplete if you're using a incomplete grade. You can set the default grade option on the gradebook column after the due date if you want to set all of the unsubmitted grades to 0 in one fell swoop. By clicking the 3 little dots, I can set the default grade. I can determine what grade I'm going to give everybody. In this case, I would say 0. Do not check the overwrite already entered grades unless, for some reason, you're giving all students the same grade. If you've already graded certain students and you're only wanting to give 0 points to the students who haven't yet submitted, leave that box unchecked so that only the students that have the dash are going to get the 0 grade. Then you click Set Default Grade, and it would adjust those students that had originally had a dash. From the view options, you have a number of options. You can arrange by, you can filter what you're seeing, and the status option lets you determine what color for each of the different designations that you're going to see in the gradebook. From the Actions tab, you can import or export a CSV file of your grades. The settings icon, the gear icon over here, is where you can set up standard grading for late submissions, and also where you can indicate if you want grades hidden until you are ready to manually post them. From this 3-dot menu in the grades, you not only have the ability to set the default grade, but you can sort from high to low or missing or late. You can jump right into SpeedGrader. You can set curved grades or default grades, etc. One of the tools I love is Message Students Who. That will automatically allow you to message a number of students all at once for a particular category. So if they haven't submitted yet, if they haven't been graded yet, scored less than or more than. And what's really nice is, let's say I'd already talked to Sonia about this particular assignment, so I didn't need to be contacting her. I could just remove her from this designation. And do know that if there are multiple students being contacted, they will get the contact message individually. They won't know that other students are also being contacted. I would recommend that you put in a more student-friendly subject line than the default one Canvas includes. No submission for discussion is pretty harsh. So you might want to say something more along the lines of checking in about our discussion, and then put whatever message you want to put. The totals column is sorted alphabetically by default, but you can also sort it by low to high or high to low grade. And you can also indicate if you would prefer grades be displayed as points here rather than percentages. You've got a notes column where you can add a brief note to yourself about students. These notes are going to be visible to you, but not to students, during the course as you grade their assignments. SpeedGrader is where you'll actually see the student submissions and can give feedback. You can get to SpeedGrader either from the 3-dot option for that particular assignment here in the gradebook, or once I'm in the assignment, I can get to SpeedGrader from the right-hand sidebar. You can use SpeedGrader to view and evaluate individual assignments, including resubmitted assignments. If a rubric is attached, you can open it up and use this gray bar to make it bigger if you need to, and that'll really streamline your grading. All you have to do is click into each box to indicate, and Canvas will total it up for you. Using the gear icon options tool, you can sort the student list. By default, it's done alphabetically, but you could also sort by the date they submitted or by submission status. That way, the ones that need grading will be grouped together at the top for easy access. This is also where you can hide student names if you want the submissions to be anonymous as you're grading them. This little gradebook icon would take you back into the gradebook. The gear icon we already looked at. The eyeball is a mute or unmute, so you can hide grades so student won't see them until you're done grading. The default is that grades are posted as you're grading them. Then it lets you know a little bit of information about the assignment. You've already graded 2 out of 4 that have been submitted, the average, etc. And then over here is the student that you are actually in the process of grading. This drop down is where you can see all of the students. These 2 have already been graded. Sonia still needs grading, and the test student is the test student. I can either move through the list using the drop down, or if I want to go next, I can use the arrow to get through the list. You can complete the assessment using the rubric, which will automatically total it for you. In the rubric tool, you also have the ability to put individual comments related to that particular criteria. And then as well, down at the bottom, you have general assignment comments. Canvas even lets you add attachments. Let's say you want to show a student an example of that particular assignment or some other reason you want to attach something. And you can even record your feedback using your camera's microphone or webcam. Numerous studies have shown that students perceive audio and video feedback as more personalized and easier to comprehend and take action on than written feedback. Because nonverbal cues aren't available in written communication, using video or audio, especially when you're giving constructive criticism, means that you can be sure to use a gentle voice tone and look directly at the camera, as though you're looking right at the student, and use other ways of expressing genuine care and support as you're giving what may be uncomfortable messages to the student. That way it makes it much more likely the student will be able to take in your feedback. Because not all students can access audio or video feedback, we recommend specifically asking about it in your first week. Your Getting to Know You survey is a great place to do that. And then making note in the notes column of those who prefer written text feedback. That way you can proceed through the term with complete confidence that you're meeting your students' needs in the way you're delivering feedback. If you find yourself making the same basic feedback comments repeatedly, thanks for your contributions to this week's discussion. Canvas has a new comments library feature that can help you with that. You'll click that little speech bubble and it'll open up the comment library. You can add new comments down here in the Add Comment field, and then you can simply click the particular comment and it will automatically put it in the comment field for you. You can also, going back to the comment library, if you toggle on the show suggestions option, then when I'm back here in the comment field, I can start writing and it will automatically pop up and I can then just click it and it will populate the field with my comment. The tool is a little clunky in that if you click more than one comment, so I've already added that. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to say, oh, I also want to say this. It doesn't add it as an addition. It overwrites the original comment you had selected, which is kind of a problem. So you can only enter one comment from the library and then you'll have to manually type in whatever else. To be honest, I actually use a Google Doc for this very same purpose, where I keep my own comment library and then I just copy and paste from that. Hopefully they'll smooth out the comment library experience because it is a good idea. It's just not maybe quite as useful as we'd like it to be. Accessing SpeedGrader can be challenging for students at first, especially those that may be unfamiliar with Canvas. So that means they might be missing the opportunity to see all of the wonderful feedback and annotations that you've taken the time to give them because they don't know where to look for it. So it's a good idea to tell them that you've given feedback. In fact, I have a comment that says that. To see my annotated comments, click the very tiny link in the upper right corner of the document field. That way they know to look where I've made annotated comments on the document. And that actually reminds me, I forgot to show you the annotated comments, which are so cool. When a student submission is a document of some kind, a Word, PDF, PowerPoint, it will open up in this annotation field, and you then have a variety of tools where you can annotate right on the document itself, which makes it a whole lot easier than trying to put comments over here when you're talking about a specific thing. So let's say I want to say great title. It's right there on the document itself, and the student can see very easily what I'm talking about. Or let's say I'm down here and I want to make a comment about the entire introductory paragraph. I can use the box and then leave my comment over here. You've got a highlighter, you've got a strike through, you can create a text box, all kinds of things you can do up here. And on many of them, you have the ability to change color. Keep in mind, colorblind students won't be able to determine the color, so don't use color as an indicator of something. So don't highlight some things in blue and some things in green and then tell students the blue means this, the green means that. Colorblind students won't be able to benefit from that. Just know that you can use the color for your own purposes. So, as I said, accessing this is not always intuitive to students. So telling them in your feedback that you gave them annotated comments and how to find that is a great idea. You can also do that by adding the relevant Canvas guides right in your assignment instructions to help them find that information. You could even create a short little video tutorial and walk students through how they can view grades and get feedback. Consider adding a low-stakes assignment as part of your orientation module so students have a chance to get familiar with the submission and feedback processes before they turn in something big. A Getting to Know You survey is a great low-stakes activity for this purpose. You can find a version of the Getting to Know You survey in the College of the Canyons online course template here in the sample orientation module. So you can go look there and then customize it if you want to make that your own. Let's take a look at what students see in the gradebook. So right when they log in to Canvas, they're going to see that they have a new grade alert in the course navigation. When they click into the grades area, they're going to see a list of the assignments and the score they've received. The little speech bubble lets them see whatever comments you put in the comments field. That's the one that you put in the general comments field. In order to see the rubric items, they would then click this little, what looks like a clipboard icon, and that way they'll see the grading rubric. What they won't see or even know about is the annotated feedback on a document submission. They have to click into the assignment and then click the very small View Feedback link in the corner in order to see the feedback you've given. It's not particularly intuitive, so you can see why lots of students would miss out on the annotated feedback. As I said, to make sure they're seeing it, I tell students right in the comment field so that that's what they're reading when they're looking at their grade, and they know how to go in and look at all of the annotated comments that I made. In closing, here are a few things to be aware of. Although all assignments, including quizzes and discussions, can be viewed in SpeedGrader, the full annotation tools are only going to be available with standard assignments where students are submitting a Word document, a PDF, or a PowerPoint. It's also not available with text box submissions. If students are completing their work in Google Docs, they can't submit the Google Doc directly unless you set up the submission type as a URL. If you want to be able to annotate the Google Doc, students will need to export or save them in a document format and then upload them to the assignment. And lastly, there is a SpeedGrader app available for iOS, which offers greater mobility for instructors who might be doing their grading on the go. Hope this was helpful.